Hi, I'm inside a cave in Kentucky. This is Horse Cave, Kentucky. Just look at how incredible that is. And this was filled with the most nasty sewage and stink that you could ever think of. Have you heard the story of how gross this cave used to be?
A little, but we didn't know coming in.
In the 70s and 80s, it started smelling really, really bad. I can't explain it. Like a cross between sulfur and dead animals, I guess.
Oh, God.
So it's the world's longest underground suspension bridge in a cave.
As far as we know, it's the world's longest.
You haven't had the Guinness folks down here to find out for sure?
We Googled them and we couldn't find anything else longer.
Oh, he Googled it.
Yep.
So this is Hidden River Cave in Horse Cave, Kentucky. This cave was never anything that anybody would ever think about going in about 20 or 30 years ago, because this was basically the underground sewage system for Horse Cave, Kentucky. And I mean, you can think about what was in here. It was so nasty, I was told, that you couldn't even stand outside of this cave, which is right in the middle of town, because of the smell.
I worked down the street a couple of blocks, and with the doors and windows closed, you could still smell it inside the building. So when you walk down the street, if you had to come downtown, you'd have to see how long you could hold your breath to get through there.
You used to be the mayor around here.
I was on city council for a couple of decades and mayor for a while, yes.
Right at the beginning, not everybody wanted to clean up this cave.
It was in the late 1980s. The goal was to create the sewer system to clean up the mess, period. We had a lot of people who were wary of rising sewer prices, even though everybody was sick of the smell. Most of the people weren't dumping into the hole, but some were. Some people did not realize that their systems actually drained directly into the ground, which went, into the cave. And then there were some businesses that probably knew what they were doing and trying to do it in the dead of night. As city council members, we would have to have a quorum to have a meeting to vote to create the system. And that became difficult. There were bribes and threats. There was a $10,000 fine being levied by the EPA at one point. We still couldn't get a quorum to vote to pass it. Those bribes and threats were going on. When the fine became $25,000 a day, at the point the pollution reached Mammoth Cave National Park, it got a lot more serious. I was on the council at the time, and the mayor at the time was in the hospital right down the street from here. They pushed him out into the parking lot. We got a quorum and passed the ordinance right then.
They had to get the mayor in a wheelchair out into the parking lot to pass this bill.
That's right. We had to strike while the iron was hot.
How did you get the stink out of the cave? You don't have a Febreze bottle big enough.
We thought that this would take a long, long time, like eons or at least, decades to get it cleaned up. But there are rushing rivers in that cave, so once you stop the flow of the noxious substances in there, those rivers rushed that water through there like they were flushing it out.
Once we finally got a regional waste treatment system built that would handle not only our waste in Horse Cave, but our sewage waste in Cave City and Park City, the two cities south of us, then that stopped a lot of the bad stuff that was going into the cave, and it's allowed Mother Nature to periodically wash out the cave, and the cave has continued to get better and better because of that.
Sandra told me it only took like 2 months?
Well, it immediately improved because we were slugging it with a lot of sewage. The entire town sewer systems were going in. When we stopped that, immediately the odors got better. But it took decades for things to recover.
But how did the town get its name? Horse Cave.
Well, the word horse means big, you've heard of a horsefly, it's a really big fly. Yeah. And so just like Mammoth Cave, there aren't any mammoths there. Horse is a big animal, it's an adjective for bigness. So we think it probably just means big cave. Now, depending on who you talk to, There were legends that a horse fell over the edge or a horse and buggy fell over the edge. I don't believe that. The Indians used to corral horses down here. Again, that's an urban legend, and I don't really believe it. I think it was probably something more mundane.
It's just a big cave, so they call it a horse
It's a
cave.
big cave.
And then the other city that's right near here is what, Cave City?
Cave City.
And it's always been called Cave City.
Yeah, that's the entrance to Mammoth Cave National Park. This is the entrance to Hidden River Cave.
How is this formed?
Basically, all I see all this dripping water. Well, you don't see much now because we're in the middle of a kind of a drought.
Yeah.
But water moving. There's an underground river that flows through. The limestone rock is very soft. It can be dissolved by a little bit of acid in the groundwater, and so over millions of years, the cave slowly dissolves away, gets eaten away, and has created this enormous cave system that is part of. We're not directly connected to Mammoth Cave, but we're sort of in the same formations and close to the longest caves in the world. So
As I walked, or as I was driving through the highway here, we saw all these billboards.
Yeah.
There was like this cave, that cave, all these caves, come to our cave.
when you're in the cave business, caves aren't usually always in the best locations. Typically, they're out in the country in a lot of places, and so having a way to let people flying by at 80 miles an hour know that you're there is pretty important.
Alrighty. So I like to stop in this spot in particular because this is my favorite spot inside the cave system. And the whole reason why is, first off, you're hearing it pretty clearly, is down here is our riverbed. Our river system goes all throughout our cave system, and we'll see it pretty much 80% of the time as we go through the cave. But with this riverbed being here, when we do get rainfall, it starts to flood. Our dump out point is mainly majority Green River, and that's our big exit point. But we've had some pretty major floods because of water being able to wash into our cave system, with one being so high, it got all the way up to here. That is 85 feet from that riverbed all the way up to that point right there, pretty much making this into a little murky pond in our backyard with how much water was submerged within it. But funny enough, that's not our highest flood anymore because we actually had flash flooding this year in April, and we've seen over 100 feet of water. Where the white sign was half of that was completely submerged underwater, taking the whole cave system with it. And as we go in, I will reassure y'all, I promise y'all, we're not going to be flushed into the cave system. I've actually had people kind of freak out on me when knowing this stuff. But the lowest point is 150 feet below the surface, and that's the closest we're going to be to the riverbed. And then we go up, and we're going to see different levels, and we'll see markers as the flood markers to point out how high the water's dropped inside of our cave system. So I'll show you that throughout the cave, and we go half a mile in, so we'll see that pretty much the whole time. But with that, we're going to start making our way down and go to this next little platform.
That right there is, okay, get this, it's the longest underground suspension bridge in a cave in the world. There's a lot of caveats to that, but it is really kind of cool when you get down here and you start crossing it, and it is quite bouncy. It's probably supposed to be like really, really swingy as we go over this bridge one more time. And yeah, I can feel it swinging back and forth. Let me just flip the camera around. You can see. Oh wow, oh wow. Yikes. But that's something you've got to experience because it's got these metal cables up here, but it's a kind of a suspension bridge. So this is very new.
Relatively, yes.
So kind of the cave stopped here for all intents and purposes.
Tours, yep. It would stop right at this little platform.
This is as far as you could go, but
yeah,
then
they knew about it. They just didn't have a passageway to be able to go back over there.
whose idea was it to build that?
So, from what I was talked about with Dave over here, actually, it was a very hard process of figuring out what would last and stay inside the cave system through all their flooding, like that marker up here I mentioned. So with the flooding itself, we were trying to think what would be the best kind of to be able to to be able to stay inside the cave system.
Yeah.
And they came up with this idea. And what's interesting is you can actually see it's built into the cave wall itself.
Oh,
So if you
okay.
ever
I mean, if you have it, that'd be great. I
had
mean,
any doubts, it helps a lot with knowing
we could probably.
It's not going to fall down
it's not going to fall
because
down.
it's part of the cave now.
Yeah, part of the cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I make sure I'm one of the people that always be checking up on it. I check up every single time I come into the cave system, and our maintenance guy will also. We do maintenance yearly around, so we'll check up on it and just see how it's doing over. They actually replaced these lines a few months ago, before when that April flood that I mentioned earlier.
Oh, nice.
That's really
But
There it
hey,
is, the largest in-cave suspension walking bridge. Any other caveats?
So it's the world's longest underground suspension bridge in a cave.
World's longest underground suspension bridge in a cave on a Tuesday.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. Dave had to add
Yes.
the underground also.
As far as we know, it's the world's largest.
Oh, you haven't had the Guinness folks down here to find out for sure?
No other cave system.
We Googled them and we couldn't find anything else longer.
Oh, he Googled it.
After,
Yep.
after we built it, we found out how long it was, and it was pretty cool. This thing was a challenge to build, let me tell you. It took us 2 years to build.
It reminds me of the Temple of Doom.
Yeah, it's very Indiana Jones-ish, isn't it? It's just got that vibe. We had to, just to come down here, these beams weigh over 500 pounds.
So how did you get the 500-pound beams? This
took
what he's
about
talking about right here.
15 guys to carry these beams down by hand. And then we had to get one on the other side, and we literally built a zip line and zipped the beam across, put it on the other side. And then we hung the 2 cables off of them, and then we built a trolley system, and we ride out on the trolley and put it in the. We didn't do this, I had a construction team doing this, but that's how it was done.
Dave was back here helping us with it.
I was sitting there going, good job, guys.
Thumbs up.
Marlon
You got
Perkins.
this.
We're going to send Jim down in the alligator pit, but I'm going to stay up here.
So I started caving with the cave guides that worked here. So I was friends with one of them that introduced me to these guys, and we went caving. And I used to be severely claustrophobic also. Like I couldn't go through walkways like this. So it helped out a lot. And I went into the cave system with them, and we traveled and we did a few more caves with it. And I finally got to the point that I was like, let's go do some more. And then they were like, hey, like you've been caving with us for almost a year now. Why don't you put an application in? Why don't you come join us? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that. And it took me a while. I finally came around to it, and I said, I put the application in, waited about a month or two, and ended up working here. And now I'm working with my best friends and pretty much my family.
Oh, Knox, that's really cool. That's really nice. Is there a scientific name for a fear, and you would know, a fear of caves?
It's on the tip of my head. Yeah, it's a phobia. I can't remember off the top of my head.
You know, we're placing it right on the screen, even though we can't figure it out right in this moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be
flashing there.
for us
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see it afterwards. It's gonna be so simple that it's just we're gonna be like
Caveophobia. Yeah. Cavern phobia.
We're from New York driving to Kentucky, and we just wanted to see different adventures along the way. So this seemed pretty cool, and we just wound up here.
So who said let's go to the cave?
This one. She did.
When did you see how did you find out about it?
We saw it on the map, and then we just were looking at all the other spots around it and looking at all the other caves, and this one looked the most interesting to us. So this is the one we chose.
Why was this the most interesting one?
Mostly because of the suspension bridge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just how spacious it is.
Yeah, and it looked very open.
So, have you heard the story of how gross this cave used to be?
A little, but we didn't know coming in.
Yeah.
Didn't know coming in.
You didn't know that this was basically a toxic waste dump kind of. No. But they went ahead and fixed this, and some people didn't want it to be fixed. But now it's this huge tourist attraction. You would never know that it was something else before this.
No, I would have never guessed that in a million years. I would have just imagined this was how it is right now, always.
So what is your journey? What are you doing? Tell me about the adventure that you're on.
We're going to Louder Than Life Music Festival in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And we wound up at the cave.
Who is at the Louder Than Life Music Festival?
Got Deftones, Rob Zombie, Slayer,
Cypress Hill.
A Perfect Circle.
Insane in the Membrane.
Yes.
That's awesome. Look at this. This is the underground dome. One of two that you can see as you come in here. Just look at how incredible that is. And this was filled with the most nasty sewage and stink that you could ever think of. And now I don't smell anything. It's the most natural, beautiful wonder right off the highway here in Kentucky that you could ever think of. And you've got not only the bridge, not only the domes in here, you've got a couple stalactites and stalagmites, you got some cave bacon in here. It is pulling people. Just today, we talked to people from South Korea. We talked to people from North Georgia. We talked to a couple of friends who were going to a concert from New York. And what happens is they see the cave and they go, hey, that's interesting. Why don't we stop? Because we see either the billboards or we see it up on Google Maps. And now they can come in here and have these kind of roadside adventures. It's not just the caves here in Kentucky that are attracting people, but it's also a success story that other cities could do by looking at this and going, what kind of blight do we have in our city? What can we do to make the best of the worst in our city? And how can we turn something around that looks so nasty into something that looks just so beautiful? So this is Hidden River Cave in Horse Cave, Kentucky. So if you're coming through the Louisville area or anywhere on the highway and you see the sign that says, come to see the Horse Cave, this is one of the places that you can go. But now you know the backstory of why this cave is very different, because it used to be a place that you never wanted to go. And now you can't keep people out of it.